Sophia, it's so good to see you
I
again.
know, honey. I'm so grateful that you asked to have me on the show because I'm so excited about our conversation.
Me too. And we were just talking before we hit record, just that I was on your podcast
Mhm.
and I was so excited because we had such a very rich conversation. And I'm so excited that you're here so we could talk about you and the amazing work that you're doing in the world. So thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm so grateful.
Yeah, I want to dive in and talk a little bit about your background because, as I said in the intro, you're a former historian, but then you changed lanes and I don't even know what to call it. You started learning body talk in 2020. So, share maybe a little bit about your history because I definitely want to make sure that we start to talk a lot about the amazing work that you're doing today.
Sure. I came in and knew that there was no such thing as separation. And yet everything around me told me there was. And so when I was 10, I was super spiritually connected. I astro traveled. I talked to spirit all the time. And when I was 10, my grandpa died and he sat on my bed for 3 days to let me know he was okay. And that tripped me out and I shut it down. Before I shut myself down, I heard three things: that one of my partners was going to be older than me, check. My dad was going to live a pretty healthy life and then have a tragic death, check. And I was going to be a doctor. At the time, I didn't want to cut anyone open. And I've always had a really deep connection with animals, like crazy, like they're my friends. They're not just animals, they're literally my friends. And I didn't want to cut anyone open. And quantum physics wasn't at the place that it is now. So I looked at myself at the age of 10. I was like, what do I like long enough to get a PhD in? And I liked history because I like studying people and how we live in different time periods. That's pretty much the whole thing. I don't like the wars and the battles and everything. I want to know the day to day, like, what did you cook with? That kind of stuff. How do we exist? So fast forward to 2006, I get my PhD in cultural history and understand how separation is created. So I take it as far as I can intellectually. Still don't have the answer because, because there is no separation. And then in 2009, my dad had the tragic death of getting a staph infection and being paralyzed for 3 months. And when he died, we had left the hospital. He was in hospice. We left the hospital. I hear the phone call from the hospital saying dad died. And I turned the car around. I'm like, that was a hospital. Dad just died. And mom said, no, it wasn't. And I pick up my phone because I'm driving. I just heard the ring. And I play the message and dad had died. So she was tripped out. We drive back to the hospital, like 20 minutes for parking and getting down to the room. And I look at his body, and that's not dad. Like, it's a wax figure that had lost like
Mm,
200 pounds and was this bony wax thing that didn't look like my dad. So I
yeah.
say, where's dad? Like 3 times because mom's, that's your father. I'm like, no, it is not my father. That is like a shell of something. I don't know what it is, but it's not my dad. And then I felt, and I was like, that was dad. And him doing that just opened me up where I hadn't been able to be open before. And I started doing meditations with Vishen from Mind Valley. Then I did the Silva method. And then I started just going really like digging, who am I? And I started receiving body talk sessions around 2013, 2014. And it just uncovered subconscious beliefs, epigenetics, past lives. It's a very complex, multifaceted discipline of healing. And in 2020, the lovely shift in our consciousness happened, and I was guided to start taking body talk classes. And body talk is a combination of chiropractic, kinesiology, Reiki, Chinese traditional medicine, a little Ayurvedic, and a little Aboriginal. And it's all placed into this one chart that is in here now. And then you tap into consciousness, and then magic happens. So the second class I took was called Body Talk Access, and it's a tapping mechanism for bringing harmony into your body. And it was for animals. And I'm in Oregon, the instructor's in Ireland, The dog that she asks me to work on is also in Ireland, but the guy couldn't call into Zoom. So there's 10 people in the class. So you know how small the Zoom thing gets.
Yeah.
She's like holding up the phone, on her camera, and I'm like squinting. That's what I'm working with. So I start tapping, and it was a puppy, and she went bounce, bounce, bounce to sound asleep before I was done. And I was
Hmm.
like, what is this? And so I took 3 more classes, and that really expanded me. And then the BodyTalk system is okay, now you get to start practicing because they want you to just start integrating it. And I started working with animals, and I was really amazed at how they respond because they don't have the lack of faith that we tend to have in healing. Because if you've ever done energy healing, yeah, this will work. But there's that skepticism. They don't have
Yeah.
skepticism.
It's the mind.
It's all the mind. And they just like, oh, cool, I'm going to get this. Now, what's really interesting is the dog I'm living with now, because I'm house sitting around Oregon, which is a fascinating experience in understanding what home is. She hasn't given me permission yet.
Interesting. Why? Is she just, like, feeling you out, or what is
She wants a relationship with me before I do anything with her because she's had trauma. And normally I'd be like, okay, because I started doing it the other day. I'm like, okay, your amygdala, your kidneys, and your adrenals are out of alignment. You're in sympathetic mode. You're not in parasympathetic. So let's just do. And she said, no. I'm like, what do you mean? No?
Mm.
She said, I don't know you yet.
Oh,
I'm
wow.
like, wow, this is so cool. So she and I have been developing a relationship. We're learning each other. She's showing me areas of trauma that I used to have so I can be more compassionate with her, which is also fascinating. That whole like relax, 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 jolt, relax, jolt. I've done that
Mm.
many, many years, and now I'm not in a space where I jolt anymore. I'm like, oh, I get to be present with myself. Thank you, body, for showing me this. She is doing what I did until like about 5 years ago.
Wow. And do you mean when you're deeply relaxed, where then, like, your body does that?
Mhm.
That happens to me. What is that? Why do we do that?
That's like trauma. That's like you're not feeling safe.
Oh,
So
interesting.
I'll share this with you and everybody who's watching. So if you hold each finger
Mhm.
until you feel your heartbeat in that finger, and then switch and do it with all 10 fingers, you're hitting 5 meridians.
Wow.
And you can bring your body into parasympathetic. And so if I wake up in the
Amazing.
middle of the night and I'm like, oh, I'm feeling super anxious, I'll do that. Sometimes I'll like literally touch each toe and feel it and move it around to calm my body down because there's also meridians there. And it's just a way to calm your body again. And also being present. When you feel that jolt, it's in your body somewhere.
Yeah.
So just be present to you. We're going into all my modalities.
I love
So we have 4 diaphragms. The first is when we put our eyes in peripheral. The second is when we swallow. The third is our actual diaphragm. And the fourth is when we squeeze to hold in pee. When we engage all of 4 of those, then our body somehow knows that we're safe. And then we can feel our feet, feel what's on our feet, feel what's under our feet. Then bring yourself up to your buttocks. What are you sitting on? How does it feel? Are you comfortable? Are you not? Is it a hard seat? Is it a soft seat? And really just engage your diaphragm when you're breathing and really be in that present state. And all of a sudden, your body's, oh my gosh, she's listening or he's listening. It's the safety that we haven't been taught. And because we're living in this time where consciousness is expanding and we're becoming more light and less carbon based, we're going to get triggered a lot.
That's so interesting because even babies do that, right? I remember sometimes my kids, like, they'd fall asleep and then their arms would come out all of a sudden and almost like they startled themselves for something. So does it happen even at a very young age? Do you see that?
Yeah, we have amnesia. Amnesia, we don't remember who we are. Like that's part of the contract of coming into the 3D is that we forget our divinity.
Yeah.
And that adjustment of what did I just do to myself? Like,
Yeah.
wait a minute, I'm like a multidimensional being and I'm in this. And so it's jolting, it's disturbing because we also have a reptilian brain that our souls don't have. And the reptilian brain is the fight or flight. And that's, I don't know this, but I'm feeling it. It like gets activated when we get here. And so it's in our DNA, it's in our epigenetics. It's just this old energy that we're transmuting, and we're in the process of transmuting. We haven't transmuted it yet.
Yeah. So interesting. So when you talk about separation, and you said that at 10, was it at 10? You're like, there is no
Oh
separation,
no,
like from the
I came in knowing there wasn't any.
you came in knowing.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit more about that because I'm curious about
Yeah.
what you found. Because I'm imagining that if you studied, you probably went all the way back to Genesis and Adam and Eve and the separation beginning there. Because I think sometimes people think it happened then, or the belief there was a
It was like
separation.
this innate awareness and then watching everyone around me. I didn't go into the Bible. It was like this awareness, like I've healed it, but I'm going to bring it up because it's relevant. So my right hip wasn't fully formed when I was born. So I was in traction at 6 weeks till 6 months and then in a body cast for a year and a half. I
Mm.
didn't walk until I was around 2. And then I actually ran because it's claustrophobic.
You're like, get me out of here.
Get me out of here. But when I was walking, my mom and I were walking down the street together and I tripped and I fell on an anthill. I cried because I knew I just
Oh,
destroyed the homes. I knew it. I knew that I had just displaced these beautiful beings that we take for granted and we don't even think of our sentient beings, but they are in their own level. I don't know what their consciousness is of an ant. I don't know, but I do know we
right.
have it because we're all conscious. And that was an indelible instinct of like me having that compassion for a quote unquote lesser being because I knew I hurt them and I didn't mean to. And
Yeah.
it just felt horrible. And the other instant I remember when I was little, no, I'm not playing with you right now. Thank you. So they're just looking at me like, I want you to play with me now. The other instance is I was 3 and we had a cabin on a lake and there was a gaggle of Canadian geese. And I immediately recognized them. I was like, oh my gosh, they're my friends, they're my family. So I walk in between them and they surround me from my parents because they're like, oh, she's one of us. And I'm talking to them, I'm petting their heads, and my parents are freaking out because Canadian geese can be mean. Not to
Right.
me, but they can be mean. And so I'm there like 10 minutes or so, and my parents are like trying their best to get me out. And I'm just like having this beautiful time. The geese are like cooing at me practically because they know who I am. I don't, I'm just being present with them. So I finally get out, and my parents are like, don't you ever do that again. I'm like, but they're my friends.
Oh.
Like, I don't see it. And I've had trees talk to me, I've had boulders talk to me, I've had water talk to me because all of they know that they're not different from me. They're just in a different form.
So obviously your parents maybe didn't quite understand this, and in society, I'm sure.
I grew up in Fairfield County, Connecticut.
Yeah, exactly. So I guess the question is, did you ever try to hide these gifts? Did you ever?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So I had the opportunity to learn that my maternal grandfather had a nervous breakdown during World War II and he was institutionalized and was given a lobotomy.
Oh,
And my paternal grandmother took care of 6 people that died on her and had a nervous breakdown, and she got institutionalized. So there's a history of mental instability in my family, which means that they're just light workers and they don't know it. I
yeah.
come from a long line of very creative beings that had to repress it. So I'm like seeing my grandpa sit on my bed and I'm like, this is crazy town. I'm
Mm,
growing up in the 70s in Fairfield County, Connecticut, and we don't talk about stuff like this. We just don't. It
yeah.
doesn't happen. And so I remember going to my minister. I'm like, okay, so how do you pray? It's like, what? I'm like, how do you pray? What we know now with Greg Braden, where you actually feel the feelings and embody it, that's the prayer. It's not, dear God, please help me because we are gods. But I
Mm,
didn't know that then. So I was like, okay, I can be institutionalized or I can shut myself down. Those were the pieces of awareness that I had at the time. I really tried to fit in. I really tried. I can't. And like my intuition was always there. I always predicted things. I saw things happening in the future. I didn't astral travel as much, but I remember when I did, I used to tie my soul to my body so then I astral travel and I could come back.
Tell me more. Tell me more about this. I've
So
not experienced this
oh,
myself,
this is
so
so cool. So this was when I was little. I go on these adventures at night in my dreams, but I knew I was going somewhere. And so I'd always have this like little rope or something that I tied to my ankle or something. And then I could feel my soul drifting off to wherever she wanted to go. And my body would still be here. And then I'd always wake up back in my body. But I don't remember when I came back. I just remember the actual tying and going off on these adventures and coming back into my body. And so the 3D really didn't make sense. I was out in nature all the time and connecting with the plants and the trees and the animals, and that made sense to me. But like connecting with humans, not as much. And I've never been able to. And that's one another reason why I focus on animals is because I am so sensitive that it's like animals have a clean energy.
yeah.
And even though I get emotionally attached to them when I spend time with them, I don't remember the sessions when I'm done.
Mm. Going back to the body talk, you noticed that you were able to connect to the animals and you were curious about it.
Ah,
And then you had this history of, oh, wait a second, I've always felt like there was no separation. We were part of with the geese and the ants. So how did you go deeper in to identifying that I think I should be working with animals?
it just started showing up. I work with animals and people started showing up and giving tests, not testing me, but like, oh, my animal has this thing and the vet can't do anything about it. So I'm like the Obi-Wan, which I'm not really a fan of. um, but it's also like, yeah, there's stuff that I can do that conventional medicine can't do because it's so expansive. It's got so many different modalities. I recently enrolled at Quantum University to become a doctor of holistic health so I can expand my awareness. And
Mm,
I've taken 2.5 classes so far. One's on the 5 bodies. So we have a physical, a vital, a mental, a supramental, and a bliss body. So that's cool. And the biofield and quantum entanglement. And so I'm already getting that. But then I got stuck on anatomy and physiology because it feels like I went down like about a different language. It's a different language on a different planet.
yeah.
And the last session I did was with an animal who had breast cancer. And she brought me into her physical body and we did like a repair on her DNA. I actually felt the DNA getting repaired.
Wow. Why are we starting to see and hear more about animals also getting breast cancer and different types of cancers that they just never got before? Is it the plastics? Is it the toxins?
So many things. It's the toxins, the food, it's the vaccinations,
Yeah.
it's the chemtrails. It's like our food isn't regulated. I've seen kidney failure in dogs. I'm like, that doesn't happen. But it's because of the polarity of light and dark. And the dark has had more of an influence in the past than it does now. Yeah, I mean, don't really want to get in that because it's conspiracy ish, but I'm going to do it anyways because it's not. There's an agenda to depopulate the planet. And it's through our food system, it's through our air, it's through our water, it's through the vaccines, it's through everything. And it's affecting the animals too. Like animals shouldn't get breast cancer, animals shouldn't get kidney failure. It's just because of the food. And like you think about our water, I was in Bend a couple weeks ago and I counted 50 chemtrails all flying around the sun to block the sun. Now, there are heavy metals in those chemtrails that affect us. We also all have parasites, and there's so many things that all of us have, and the glyphosate, and there's so many levels of things that really affect them because they're so pure, they're innocent. And their contract has been to be the emotional support for humans. They don't want that contract anymore.
Wow. Do you work with all types of animals? Yeah. And do you have, I hate to say pick a favorite, but do you have any that some animals or types of animals that you just naturally seem to be drawn to, or maybe they're drawn to you?
It's an interesting question. Like, I recently did chickens, which was
Oh my
really
gosh.
fascinating because they had a collective consciousness that needed to be shifted. Well, that they asked to have shifted. And I was like, wow, it never occurred to me. So for me, it's more like It's the joy of whoever wants to come to me finding out what they need. I'd love to work on a cow because I think that would just be fabulous. I don't know
Mhm.
why, but I just want to work on a cow. But it doesn't really matter who it is because we're all consciousness. And I get to delight in whoever comes in. I had a dog a couple months ago. He was a terrier. He was sick of being a terrier. I'm like, okay. He's like, can we just go back like 20 generations and deactivate that terrier thing? And I'm like, oh, okay. Because I don't know. I didn't know what the animal wants. And so we did, and we finished the session, and he was chill. He was like, oh, finally, I don't have to be the bouncy, obnoxious terrier thing that I've been my whole life. I was like, oh, that's
Wow.
really amazing.
That's really interesting. So, when you are connecting to these animals, for those that have never experienced something like this, what is it? Is it an inner knowing?
It's a channel. So I say I call on source energy, all of my higher wisdom and self, and all of their higher wisdom and selves to ask for the highest healing to be facilitated through me and ask that whatever comes through is integrated with ease and grace for the highest good of all. And
Mhm.
so it is said, it is done. And that's how I start it. And then I literally become a channel. And I hear they
Mm.
take me, what's recently happened is like, first they take me through a body talk session, and then they take me through things that I've just learned that's not part of the body talk system that is just like coming through. And then sometimes they'll actually talk to me and tell me what to tell their humans. I prefer, small ego, prefers to work with pictures, but I can tune into energy. I don't need a picture to work with an animal. If the animal wants me to, I will. I worked with a sheep in England about 4 months ago, and the woman was going to send me a picture. The sheep came into my heart space before I got the
Wow.
picture, and I was like, this is not me. This is someone else. And she showed me what she needed. And the vet was going to put her down because she was lame. We tuned in, and her right elbow had heartbreak in it.
Oh, heartbreak.
Heartbreak. Every body part has consciousness, which is a whole trippy thing, too. And her brother had just died. So the masculine side of her body was experiencing heartbreak because her brother had just died. We deactivated it. And within a week, she was walking.
Wow. So you saved her life.
I did. I did.
Oh my gosh, that's
Which
amazing.
that's why I love doing
Uh,
this because, like, I get to go where conventional medicine doesn't know how to go.
So, Sophia, animals, they're just so wonderful. And we as humans sometimes are trickier. We're a little bit harder. Do you also work with humans, or what have you found is the biggest difference between humans and animals?
Humans need a lot more sessions. A
They
lot more
do.
sessions. Yeah,
What is that? Is it control? Is it the mind? Is it like the doubt that you talked about?
it's the control, it's the levels of subconscious and unconscious that we have. We have layers and layers of it. And animals just don't. Like when Winnie lets me finally work with her, we'll have one session and she'll be complete. I don't have repeat clients with animals.
Wow.
Rarely, rarely, because they just get it. It's one session and they're fine. And humans, like I had it for like 8 years. So
But is Body Talk designed for animals and for humans?
it's actually primarily designed for humans. I don't really need to know the anatomy of an animal because like they'll tell me. That anatomy and physiology class, I don't need to know it because I already know it, if that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah, it does. It's fascinating. Do you work with horses? Do you ever
Oh,
work
I
with
love
horses?
working with horses. I
Aren't they magical?
I had one experience that was remote and it had a virus and we deactivated the virus. His companion died of the virus. The
Mhm.
horse that I worked on was fine the next day. Horse is really
Wow.
integrated. I did one session with a horse that a farrier showed me and I put my hand on the horse, flow. Like I don't even know what came through because it was so fast because she was like, oh, finally somebody gets to work with me. It was so fast that I was just really just feeling energy flowing through me. And it was maybe like 5 or 10 minutes because it was just a super fast. And then she did like a full body shake. I was like, wow, that was a
Wow.
fast integration. And the farrier said, oh, that was a fly. And I'm like, a fly is twitch. A fly isn't like a full body shake. And so with the horses, it's just, they integrate it so fast. It's
Mm.
amazing.
What about ancestral patterns? Do animals get it too, or is it
Yes.
mostly just humans? And how
It's
does that present itself?
I'll use Winnie again as an example. Epigenetically, there's been trauma for about 10 generations. So it's in her epigenetics. It's us. I'm like tuning in. It's more like their amygdala, because I don't feel that they have reptilian brains, but they pick up on ours and they overcompensate for our fears. But yeah, it's mostly like adrenal fatigue kind of stuff and not being in the parasympathetic mode, because most animals, if they're in harmony, 95% of the time they're chill. They might want to play, but they're not
Yeah.
anxious.
And speaking of that, knowing that so many of us humans are either in a state of burnout or have challenges with mental health right now and anxiety and all types of things, we know animals are very sensitive to this. So, what are we seeing in terms of like how we're impacting the animals with what we're experiencing as humans?
It's interesting because they'll either get heightened anxiety. You'll see them pacing around, drinking a lot of water, wanting to go out a lot, or wanting a lot of attention. What is the deeper message, though, is that they're shifting their consciousness like we are, and they want to have different contracts with us. So they don't want to be our emotional support beings anymore. They want to be interdependent with us, and we get to be their stewards. Like right now, I'm Winnie's steward. Like I'm taking care of her to the best of my abilities. I'm learning her idiosyncrasies and quirks, and I'm just here for her support. And she can do her life, and we'll interact when we want to. And when it's not aligned, she does who she is, and I do who I am. And that's where we're heading.
It's so interesting. It makes me think of the animals are saying, yeah, we're going to put up some healthy boundaries with you humans
Mhm.
because what's going on is not working for us anymore. Is that what it feels
Pretty
like?
much. And the younger ones definitely have more light. So anyone that's under 2 doesn't really carry much trauma, because it's like the babies right now, they're carrying more light. But
Yeah.
the older ones still carry the trauma because they still have the ancestral patterns.
Fascinating. So I know you said you came into this world knowing this, and right now it feels we are divided as humans. It feels like there's so much divisiveness
Mhm.
and there's so much anger and violence, and even just with words. So, what is happening? What do we need to do to just come back to this place of no separation, more unity, more love for one another?
Love yourself first. And
Mhm.
by that practice that I showed you with the 4 diaphragms, that really gives your body permission to feel. And the problem with humans is that we go into story. Like you want to know what it is that caused this. I used to anyways. Like I remember there's one time I'm doing inner child work, and my little girl, my 6-year-old girl, looks at me and says, "Stop." I'm like, "What?" She's like, "You're turning 30 years of research since I started researching at 18. You're turning that. You have a PhD and you're turning that level of research and knowing that you will find the thing. You're turning that on me? Are you kidding me? You're re-traumatizing me." And I'm like, "Oh my God, honey, I'm so sorry," because inner child work is like all about finding the thing. It's helpful to a point, but ultimately your body just wants to know it's safe. And that's a process. It's somatic work. This is the basis of what I do on myself a lot, is the somatic work of just being present with myself, not distracting myself, getting off of media, all media. Go out in nature, take your shoes off, hug a tree, literally. I love to lay on the ground. Like when it's not raining or snow or anything like that, I will lay on the ground for an hour. I did this. I was at Silver Falls in September, and I did my hike, which was amazing. I was already really connected. And then I ground after the hike. Whoo! It was like I took some sort of psychedelic trip, because I was in such a state of presence and gratitude. And there was nothing outside of me that mattered, because I was just so happy in that space of presence. But that takes effort. It takes patience. It takes kindness to self. And even if you just start with a simple engaging your 4 diaphragms and breathe like that for 2 minutes to start, to give your body permission to relax, because we got to start somewhere. And a lot of people are in that anxiety. I feel like the day before, I felt this incredible, like holding breath, anticipation, anxiety, energy. And the next day, I felt this shift in the energy, like some sort of frequency change. Ultimately, it's more light. I don't know why or how, but that's what I feel. And for anyone who's just beginning to realize they're a multidimensional divine being, it's scary because ultimately what we're being called to is not look outside of ourselves for leaders. We're supposed to be our own leaders. And that takes practice.
I love that advice. And I've done that for myself and also told my clients to do the same thing. Get off the social media, turn off your notifications for every article that's coming through that is just created to incite an emotional response from you, and just do more of the things that allow you to go within. Because we create so many stories,
Yep.
and a lot of times they're pretty harmful.
Oh, yeah. And what brings you joy?
Right.
Like, really, does watching your Telegram feed or Instagram or whatever, does that bring you joy? Probably not. Does hugging your animal bring you joy? Does having
Yeah.
a warm cup of tea bring you joy? Like, really focus on in that moment. And it's hard because, like, in the Gene Keys, my number 4 is presence. And when I found
Mm.
that out, I just laughed. I was like, wow, I picked that one. Okay, because that's the hardest one for me because I haven't
Mm.
been for so long. And right now, my soul is telling me, like, monotask. You don't have the capacity to multitask anymore, which is awesome.
It is. It's actually very freeing, isn't
Mhm.
it? To decide, okay, this is what's important, and I'm going to give all of myself to it in this moment. Sophia, you're such a light. It's just amazing the work that you are doing. If folks want to work with you, either for themselves or for a loved one or for their loved beings, what is the best way that they can find you and get a hold of you?
The easiest way is heal.me/Sophia, Sofia dash Risberg, Risberg, and you can book a discovery call with me there.
Wonderful. We'll include the link in the show notes.
Thank you.
And then the final question that I ask is, what does it mean to you to live the width of your life?
To allow oneself to experience the joy of being to the
Hmm.
fullest extent, to understand the multidimensionality of what we are and to put it in 3D terms. I have a stick shift 4-wheel drive BMW. I love driving her at fast speeds around corners. I also love baking. I also love grounding. I also love communicating with trees. I love all of the aspects of me. There's not one that conflicts with another. They're all just aspects of expressions of what I am. And to explore that to the fullest ability that I can, make myself limitless or recognize my limitlessness within, that's it.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for the amazing work you do in this world. And thank you for spending some time with me today. I really enjoyed it.
Me too. Thank you so much, sister.